With more than 6,000 small and micro-cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple at the earliest stage, then Channelchek truly is the orchard. The listed companies support Channelchek, so it's free for you, the potential investor, to gain access to institutional quality research from FINRA licensed analysts, advanced market data, industry reports, news, and a growing catalog of videos and webcasts. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and register for Channelchek so you're always up to date on what's going on at the small and microcap data place. Welcome to the C-Suite series presented by Channelchek and Noble Capital Markets. Noble is an SEC-registered, FINRA-licensed broker-dealer and the source of the equity research available on Channelchek. Today's interview features Bassett Furniture, NASDAQ ticker symbol BSET. Noble Senior Research Analyst Joe Gomes interviews Bassett Furniture President and CEO Rob Spilman. Visit channelchek.com or click the link in the description for Noble's research on Bassett Furniture, as well as news and advanced market data. And now, here's Joe and Rob.
With us today is Rob Spilman, Chairman and CEO of Bassett Furniture Industries. Good afternoon, Rob, and thanks for taking the time to sit down with us.
Thank you, Joe. Great to be here.
So let's start off. Bassett has a long and proud 119-year history. For those in the audience unfamiliar with Bassett, can you talk a little bit about the company's history and what you do, along with your personal history with Bassett?
Sure. Love to. We like to talk about our history. We're proud of it and use it quite a bit in our marketing, and I think it resonates even more today in the world we live in. But we find ourselves this morning, as we do most mornings, in the little hamlet of Bassett, Virginia. We're in Southwest Virginia at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And back over 100 years ago, back in the late 19th century, J.D. Bassett, who happened to be my great-grandfather, or I happen to be his great-grandson, let's put it that way, was an entrepreneurial fella and had a general store and was a farmer, and he also was in the timber business, had a sawmill. First got the contract to construct the railroad ties of the N&W railroad that came through here well over 100 years ago. And once he expanded the sawmill, he began to branch out and provide lumber to the nascent furniture industry down in North Carolina when that was starting. And really the real seed of the furniture industry in America in those days was in around the Grand Rapids, Michigan area and upstate New York, around Jamestown, New York. So he began to branch out and take some of this beautiful white oak that we have here and cherry and other hardwoods and peddle those to the furniture manufacturers. And one time his wife accompanied him to the trip up in Michigan, and when they were coming back home, he said, what do you think about all of this? And her answer was, I think we ought to do what they're doing. We have the raw material and we have the labor. So it was really her idea to start Bassett Furniture in 1902. So he got his brother and his brother-in-law, and they started making furniture. We made strictly wood furniture, bedroom and dining room, until the early 1960s, and we bought a upholstery company down in Newton, North Carolina called Prestige in 1964, and that began our entry into upholstered furniture. And today we are 70% upholstered furniture in our wholesale volume. So it's a good thing we went into the upholstery business, because it's come to really be the leading segment for us. As far as I'm concerned, I grew up here in town, worked in the factories. It really wasn't, I didn't really have a choice. I was told to go work in the factory. So that's what I did. The first time I was 14 years old and went down to Dumas, Arkansas. Spent 2 wonderful months down there in a plant we had in those days. But I grew up in the business, went off to school. After school, I was entered the industry, but not with Bassett, and worked with a big retail operation down in Texas for about 6 years. And in 1984, I joined Bassett and came back to the Hickory, North Carolina area, where we still have the upholstery operation I talked about, worked there, and another division we had at the time for about 10 years. 94, I moved back here to headquarters, and I had the responsibility of sales and merchandising for the company. And I did that for 3 years until I became the COO. We had a new CEO come in. And then since March of 2000, I have been the CEO. So that's short history of my involvement.
It's a fascinating background, really interesting, Rob. So obviously, the COVID pandemic has had a major impact on the entire furniture industry, especially early last year. But the industry has seen unprecedented strength over the past 9 months. I mean, just Bassett itself has record backlog and orders continue to come in. So first, how is the company dealing with the current environment? And second, what lessons were learned during the pandemic?
I would say, Joe, we are extremely vigilant. And when it comes to how are we dealing with this, some things we unfortunately can't control, but hard to believe a year later that we're in the situation that we are today. When you look back a year ago, and in this very room where I'm sitting talking to you right now, we have big sticky notes on the walls here from a year ago, which chronicled our incoming and outgoing cash week by week, almost day by day, because it really was white knuckle time, because for a period of several weeks, the well completely dried up a year ago. So we instituted a daily crisis meeting, we called it, at 8:30, and and this was cross-functional. We did this 5 days a week, and in the first few weeks, we did it on Saturdays as well. We were that concerned about where all of this was going to come out. Come Memorial Day 2020, 11 months ago, our fortunes completely reversed, and folks started getting out again, going to stores, buying online, and we started selling one heck of a lot of furniture, and we hadn't stopped since. So we've been dealing with it with an unbelievable amount of communication and coordination between our sales, marketing, manufacturing, sourcing, logistics teams, and we do that, as I said, twice a week now. So we really know what's going on every day with the company, and we're doing this because things happen. For example, yesterday, or day before yesterday, India shut down because of COVID. So we have a bunch of our new fabrics that we're bringing out for the fall are from India, and we were planning on getting that material in to have swatches to have our guys go sell it. So that's a small one, but every day there seems to be something new. So we're dealing with it by staying on top of it, frankly. And what have we learned? Well, I guess in retrospect, even though we thought we were very diligent on cost control and things we could do without, when you truly have no water running through the system, and the tap goes dry, you really realize you can do things more economically than you even thought about, and so that's one from a people point of view. Now, mostly on the wholesale side, I will say most of those folks are back with us now because our business is so good. But we don't have more. We have the same amount, and that's spread amongst a much higher volume level. On the retail side, we really have taken out quite a few of the folks there. We're running the stores leaner. both from an administrative and sales point of view. And the remaining salespeople are working like Trojans, but they're making a lot more money than they were before. And we are not going to change that until we see that there's a reason to change that. Other ancillary things, travel being a big one. We travel is something that, in retail, wholesale, how much do we really need to travel? Certainly the virtual thing is we're all in some ways kind of sick of it a little bit with all the Zoom and the WebEx and all of that, but we just don't think we need to travel as much. There's another question. We just got back from an event in High Point called Pre-Market, lasted 4 days. We had dealers come in. We had about 150 dealers, but the question remains, what is the future of furniture markets? And that's an expensive endeavor for us, between all the rents we pay and, of course, getting all the samples and getting the people in there and the meals and all of those things. So certainly looking at cost control. And then finally, I would say learnings on the digital engagement side. We have really amped up all aspects of that. The virtual appointment is something that we did not do before, but now we're doing design jobs digitally. And that was kind of born out of COVID. The live chat, we have actually put the live chat in our stores now, where our designers are doing that chat instead of doing it here at the office. They're the most qualified to know the product line, and we're seeing revenue evolve from that at an exciting level. So, wow, it's just a lot of stuff that came out of COVID, and I'm not sure we're sure how it's all going to play out for the long haul, but we have learned a lot.
That's a roller coaster of a year, that's for sure. Now, you recently announced you're opening a new manufacturing plant. Can you give us some information on what the plant will be manufacturing? How close is it to opening? And when do you see the facility being up to full production?
So we're excited about that. We announced that Monday, and it was been very well received. The factory is actually, we call it a campus. We have 2 big buildings that I talked about down in Newton, North Carolina, that make upholstered furniture. And this building is 125,000 feet, and it's next door to our, it's separated by a railroad track, but it's right next door to where we are now. So very excited about that. Our business, even before the pandemic, we were pretty cramped there in terms of space. We've also opened a new category of domestic motion furniture, and which is exciting. We're selling that well, but it takes a lot more space with all the reclining mechanisms that we have to have on the factory floor. So we decided to take this factory down 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. We've been negotiating with the owners. We wanted to buy it, but we couldn't buy it. It was caught up in a 20 property deal that it would have been very expensive to extract, prohibitively expensive. So anyway, we're leasing it. We had to negotiate the lease, and we've just gotten that done. So our guys are over there this morning. We've been inside for about 3 weeks, putting in the air compressors, the air lines, knocking out some offices that we're not gonna need, working on the lighting, the roof, et cetera, et cetera. So with all that going on, we still believe we're going to be able to open around the 1st of June. And we have a specific plan for this. Our starting everyday value price point goods, which have sold very well in COVID, we're going to be made there now. Where we previously made that product we'll move that motion product in there, and we'll have ample room to do it. And that will happen in early July. On the other side of the wall of that building We make outdoor furniture. And then contiguous is a very big facility that we manufacture custom products in and accent chairs. So each building has its own reason for being. That is a lot of stuff going on in one area, but the beauty of having the plant next door to us is we don't need to hire new management to run it. We can run it with our existing team, and we are really excited about it. As far as full production goes, we need to add about 80 people. That's very difficult to do today, labor being probably the most challenging aspect of our business today, and maybe in the business world in America today. So, but we are able to hit singles every week, hire 3, 4, 5 people, that kind of thing. So over time, we'll build up to that 80, and I think we'll be able to accomplish that this summer. So we should be toward the end of the third quarter, which is August for us. We should be at full production, and very excited about that.
We look forward to that. Now, you touched on this previously, but a key focus of the company going forward is to capture the shift towards consumers buying online. What's the company done to position itself to succeed in this area?
I would say that we, in all honesty, have been behind in this area. Part of it stems from the way we sell furniture. 80% of what we sell, we have to make. So it's not in inventory. We have to go make it, and it's made to the specifications of our customer. So that may be the fabric, or the leather, or the welt, or the cushion, or the arm on the frame, or the finish on the dining room table, or the species of wood, or the size of the dining room table. So we built our business when the Asians began to take over the furniture industry, and the big kind of mass production stuff that we were in back in the 2000s and late 90s and early 2000s. We morphed our company into a customized proposition, and that worked. And that's allowed us to become a much more made in America type situation. But it is not an easy transaction to transact on the web because you have so many options. And that is really, in our minds, still to this day, best facilitated by a designer or with a designer and the customer. However, there is an undeniable, as we all know, shift and migration to e-commerce. So that's something that we have really been looking at, fusing our custom story and really the heartbeat of what we do with e-commerce. And with that comes a lot of work on the data that is in our system to get this done. And then ultimately providing the means for a consumer to make these kind of choices more easily than they can on a Bassett transaction today. Most of the things that we sell on the web today are that 20% of things that are already made. So all you have to do is point and click. When you get into building something from scratch, it's more difficult. So the biggest thing is we have made a big push to do this. And as we speak, there is a big effort to organize this data to make it more, make it simpler for the customer to transact. And so this will debut early in 2022. In the meantime, we have shifted virtually all of our marketing to digital marketing. And this was something that's gone on over the last couple of years, something that concerned us because we were so embedded with traditional television, particularly in the local markets. We have completely eschewed that form of advertising now. We no longer, we do some what they call connected TV, which is the streaming TV. But as far as the old NBC, CBS, the morning show, or the nightly news, or those kind of things that we used to do, we're done with that. And we've taken that money into digital marketing, and that, as a consequence, has really, and also the methodology by which we do this, which we are learning as we go and have learned a lot. And so consequently, our web traffic has really accelerated, doubled last year, and our engagement is increasing. So the web is driving our marketing, and I've been out in the last few days to 5 of our stores and talk with our people, and it's great to get out and see people again and do all those kind of things. And they're all saying, these folks are coming in, they know what they want when they get here because they've been on the web and they ask specifically for this product or that product or where is it. So it's really changed, and it's pretty fun to see what's going on. But we need to get better at it. We're putting capital toward it. Need to put more capital toward it.
Now, one of the things that has been going on here in the industry is the current disruption in the import trade, lack of containers in Asia, long unloading times here in U.S. ports. How do you see this situation resolving, and what actions has Bassett taken to overcome these conditions?
In all candor, we're small potatoes in that big equation you just described. Not only Bassett, I would say the furniture industry in general. When you're talking about Walmart and Amazon and all these other guys. So there is a global shortage of containers. Okay, and a bunch of them are sitting over here in the United States, and they can't get back over there to Asia where we need them. So this is gonna take a while. Now, one good thing about it for us is we're not as susceptible to this being heavily made in America, but it is, even in the made in America, it has some componentry in the guts of this stuff that are done overseas. So we have a very tight vendor network, meaning we really only have 4 to 5 really important vendors over there in Asia. So we're not, a lot of our competitors have a whole bunch of them, and so we're important to everybody that we have. That we do business with, and really many of these guys we've done business with for 20 years. So we put in a Vietnam consolidation center last year where we can mix from different vendors and not have to have a full container of the same guy. So when we do have to get a container, it can satisfy the needs that we need right now instead of something that we're going to need part of and the rest of it later. We have moved to Thailand with our motion furniture, our club level motion, in the last 18 months. That was previously manufactured in China. When the Trump administration put all the tariffs on, there was a mad scramble for production outside of China to avoid the tariffs. Our guy we started doing business with in 2000, we've known this guy a long time. He is under construction. We already have 2 of the buildings operational, but there's going to be 450,000 square feet of motion furniture product production and warehousing exclusively for us in China. So, in Thailand. So our vendor base is tight and efficient, and we are highly communicative with them. When it comes to actually getting the container, that's where it's challenging, because the container prices have tripled to quadrupled over the last 12 months. So we have had to correspondingly increase our prices to cover this, not just us, the entire industry. and we just heard about it down in that show I referred to earlier, ad nauseam. That's all anybody was talking about. So we have added 2 freight brokers that we didn't use before, and we have a full-time logistics crew downstairs here at the office that hawks these containers around the clock. But at the end of the day, we need more containers, and the industry, the world needs more containers, and they're hard to come by and they're expensive right now. So we're just going to have to leverage all the good things that we've done to try to make this situation as palatable as we can. But I got to tell you, it's a tough one.
A challenge to overcome. The company acquired the Lane Venture brand in 2018, a premium outdoor furniture brand. You also recently introduced Bassett Outdoor in your retail stores. Can you discuss a little bit the strategy with outdoor furniture and how that fits into your overall strategy?
Sure. Well, obviously we want to grow, and outdoor has been growing faster than indoor furniture in totality for the better part of the last decade as lifestyles change, population migrates to the Sun Belt, those kinds of things. And we saw this party going on and we weren't invited. So we wanted to be in. And so the first thing, we knew Lane Venture for a long time. They've been around for a long time. We liked the brand. We liked the equity of the brand and the history of the company. They were somewhat of a shell of their former selves when we bought it out of bankruptcy from the old remnants of furniture brands, which is no longer in existence. And there was a lot of things we had to do. They had too much inventory. They had it up in a warehouse in Lenore, North Carolina. They had their cut and sew operation was over in Mexico. We wanted to be more nimble. We brought all that into the United States. We put a big warehouse in. We put in a manufacturing platform, brought cutting machines, sewing machines, all those people in. So bringing that up to speed has been, we had to hire new reps and more reps. So we've done all that. And Lane Venture as a standalone entity is really growing right now. And I think the COVID mentality has accelerated the desire people have to live outdoors. So that's good. And Lane Venture is a standalone that we see a great future in. All along, we had the same plan in the back of our mind to sell outdoor furniture under the Bassett brands in our stores and ultimately on the web. And so, but we wanted to get our feet wet, learn there are different sewing techniques, different cutting techniques, different vendors, different zippers on the cushions, different frames, it's outdoor is different. So we really wanted to understand and learn all that with the Lane Venture, which we've done. And so last year at this time, unfortunately, coinciding with the week that we shut all the stores down, we debuted Bassett Outdoor. And so that's been a little slower to get off the ground just because of that. But these last few weeks, we're really starting to see improved sales in Bassett Outdoor. And we just feel really good about it. The final piece of the puzzle I'll mention is October of 2019, we made another acquisition of a very small company called Crimson Casual, which is really not known very well in the industry, small volume, but beautiful finishing line to powder coat aluminum outdoor furniture. And the whole Made in America story with that is really strong. So we put that both in the Lane Venture and in the Bassett Outdoor line. And we are setting, again, small numbers, but we're setting record months in production and shipping right now, month after month down there, because the reception to this product, the quality of the finish that we're putting on, and the Made in America story is really good. And the other thing that's going to allow us to do is to get into the contract business, what we call sling furniture that you'll see at what's this, nylon woven slings in the aluminum furniture, and you see that around pools, hotels, country clubs, this kind of thing. So there's a lot of white space for us to grow outdoor, and it's going to be a bigger and bigger part of Bassett going forward, and very exciting.
Sounds it. You also own Zenith Logistics, which provides trucking and other logistical services to Bassett and other players in the furniture industry. And we noted that Zenith derives approximately 35% of its revenue from Bassett. Thus, most of its revenue is from outsiders. And we're not aware of other furniture players that provide logistical services to others. What value has owning Zenith brought to Bassett?
Well, good question. And Zenith has, in some ways, been part of Bassett for over 30 years, although we didn't own it. But true, only 35% of their revenue comes from Bassett, but it gives them a base. It gives them a steady customer who pays their bills. And that's what Zenith management from the get-go sought when they sought out a relationship with Bassett 35, 40 years ago. On the Bassett side, we have had a reliable transportation arm that gets our stuff where we need it, when we need it, on a consistent basis, week in and week out. And now I am talking pre-pandemics to a certain extent, but this seems like eons ago, but believe it or not, way back when, J.C. Penney's was 15 to 20% of Bassett's business, and Zenith hauled all of the J.C. Penney business. And J.C. Penney's was very difficult to get in their warehouses and get unloaded. And the whole industry and a lot of other industries wanted to get in these gigantic distribution centers, and Langhorne, Pennsylvania was one of the ones that sticks in my mind. But anyway, so that's how it all began. Ultimately, our stores really became the J.C. Penney's of Bassett as we grew the core distribution of the company away from department stores and these kind of folks when all the imports came in. And so we moved Zenith over to handling all our store business. And so they have done a fantastic job. So all of our retail is serviced solely by Zenith. They do a fantastic job. They know all of the store owners and warehouse people by name, and it's quite a tight relationship, and one that's kind of the lifeblood of getting the furniture to our stores on a consistent basis. So that's been really good. Zenith also operates our warehouses. We have warehouses in California and Texas and other places where they bring in the imported furniture directly there and bypass bringing it here to Virginia or North Carolina and shipping it all the way back out to California. So Zenith does all of that. So it's given us a window on what goes on in the logistics transportation business, and it's given us a steady provider. Now, the thing about it is, as other people, namely people that compete with us in some cases, but all in the furniture business, have seen this and have been exposed to this, they like what they see. So Zenith has been able to grow their business outside of Bassett in conjunction with serving us. And I would say right now, we are the premier LTL furniture transportation company servicing the furniture industry in this country today.
You care to give us any prediction on how long the current business environment lasts? And what do you see as the biggest long-term challenges for Bassett going forward?
I hope I've done a decent job of answering your questions, but if there's any question I would like to know the answer to, that's the one you just asked. And so, because I don't know. And we ask ourselves that every week, and we keep saying this thing's got to slow down. And last week was the best order week we had all year. So I don't know when the hell this thing's going to slow down. It's got to. I mean, it's got, look, if there's any doubt that travel and dining out and experiential discretionary dollars, cruise ships, all this other stuff was not our competitor, that's gone now, because that's been our number one competition. And obviously the way America operates and the values that the country holds, that's all going to come back on some level. I think it'll be slow. It won't be a boom, I don't think. I think this thing's going to last a little longer. It may slow down a little bit, and that may not be all bad. And of course, everybody knows what's happening in housing. Of course, there's not enough housing, but housing is up. And just being down there with those 150 retailers over the weekend down there in High Point, North Carolina at that show, it's unbelievable the stories that we're hearing about, particularly the guys in the South, where all the guys from the North are moving down there, and it's blowing their business up. And so I think this is going to go on through. I think 2021 is going to continue to be strong, and we've got a big backlog to carry us through that and beyond. But I really think we've taken share in this thing. I think despite our challenges with service, I know our service is better than most all of our competition. And the people told us that this weekend down there at that show and thanked us for being able to ship some. So that's a big deal. And I think we'll continue to leverage that. I think as far as challenges going forward, I think obviously adjusting to a decline in this revenue and keeping that share that I just said we could and would is a challenge. I think getting this new website and more robust e-commerce is something that we need to do, and we need to make our all the custom things that we do more transactional digitally, as I alluded to earlier. I think that's a big deal for us, and one that we're going to be relentless in pursuing.
Well, Rob, we covered a lot of ground today and got significant insight into what Bassett does, its markets, and opportunities. We appreciate you taking the time to do this CEO interview, and we wish you and the company the best in the future. Thanks again.
Thank you for joining us for this C-Suite interview presentation brought to you by Channelchek. Visit our YouTube channel for more interview content, as well as virtual roadshows and conference presentation replays. New content is added regularly, so subscribe below to stay up to date. Visit channelchek.com or click the link in the description to access equity research, news, and advanced market data on this and the 6,000 other small and microcap companies listed.